Hey, She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Brunslick, and you are likely listening to this after September 29th, which means I am now 39. And I have entered my final year of my 30s. I'm actually not sad about this at all. I just want to be clear. So many people talk about how great your 40s are, and I can see it. Like, oh my gosh. All right. Anybody who is like sub 35, I need you to pay attention right now. Like, you are likely comparing yourself to all of these people that are much older than you. Okay. Maybe not a ton older than you. And there is so much that comes in your wealth building, in your opportunities as you age. Like, I was just talking with Kirby a month ago, maybe, and I had this like heartfelt moment for all of the 20 somethings who are starting their practices and having babies, but are watching people like me and Elise Rigney and Courtney Gowan, like, who are like building cool empires and traveling and doing all this stuff. And like, subconsciously or consciously, you realize you're comparing. And I just want you to know that my 20s were so lame. Like, but in the best way, like totally in the best way. Like, we got married, we had a $10,000 wedding. We had babies and we were there. Like, we went to the pumpkin patch there. Now, we didn't have like, you didn't see it because there was no Instagram. Like, and I was focused on growing our clinic. Like, we're growing, trying to get to 200, 300 a week. And it was simple. There was no, what's the course that I am releasing, podcast, newsletter, like email, like all of that stuff. It didn't exist. I mean, it existed, like it did exist. It didn't exist in my life. I was just able to focus on having those babies. And so if you're a 20 something right now and you are feeling behind, like, girl, boy, whatever, just focus on getting some of those like core foundational things that actually matter in life. Finding yourself a best friend to marry. Like, if you're choosing to have kids, like, which I think you should, reproduce, because, Kirby and I had this conversation because his mom wanted us to, well, she didn't want us to wait. Right around the time we were getting married, I was 24. I think I was actually 23 the day we got married. I turned 24 a week later and I was about to graduate. And his mom was like, we were talking about, we wanted to have kids right away. And she was like, no, just enjoy your life. And we were like, why would we do that? We're starting a business. We have no freedom anyways. We have no money. We have no money and no freedom. We might as well have children now. And I remember being like 24 and just so confident, being like, and then one day when they're older, we're going to have all this freedom and money. That's when we're going to be rich. And we don't want, so it's just like, so for any of you who needed to hear that, now let me tell you a little story about how my life is so together right now. This is the dichotomy of why you follow me. All right. This is the good stuff. So this weekend, we are so as I'm writing this weekend, we are going to Miami with our kids. We didn't want to do just us two because Kirby and I are going for 10 days in Italy a couple weeks later. So I wanted this to be a family trip. We used points and upgrades and things like that. We are flying first class down, first class back with our kids. We are staying at a bougie ass hotel. Thank you, Amex points. Like, so that's why today's like from the vault is specifically chosen for you to start learning your points. But okay, so setting the scene, we are having this luxury, like bougie weekend, right? I'm packing all my good bags. I am driving my kids to school and we are pulling up and I look in my back seat. And okay, first of all, I'm wearing a sweatshirt that has coffee spilled all over it. So I'm wearing a full sweatshirt get up, matching beige sweatpants and matching beige sweatshirt. Can you picture it? Coffee stains everywhere. So that sets the scene. And I'm pulling up to school and I look in back to say bye to Ty, our 10-year-old. And I go, Ty, are you wearing the same shirt you wore yesterday? And I remembered it because it was her sister's shirt and we got it in Hawaii. And she's like, yeah. And then I look at her pants. I go, are you wearing the same pants you wore yesterday? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, Ty. Like, she's got curly hair. We haven't really mastered how to, like, because you're not supposed to brush dry curls. We're still learning how to send her to school without her hair looking like a mess. If you have naturally curly hair, please send help. What do we do? And then in this moment, I also know, I'm like, you didn't brush your teeth either. And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot drop you off at school wearing, like, you have to understand, this is a public school in a rural area where the median income for a family is less than probably $60,000. Like, they're like, and our kid, and I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Like, and so her big sister is laughing in the front seat, just going, they are going to kick us out of first class. And I was like, shut up, Charlie. You're not helping. She's like, look at your sweatshirt. I'm like, I'm taking it all in, kid. Yeah, I know. I know that we are an absolute shit show over here in this Brunswick house. But that's why you follow me. You follow me for the good stuff, the real stuff, right? So I kicked out the big kid, took the younger one home, made her get dressed, and dropped her back off. So there we go. So today's episode is, actually episode 268. It is from July of 2024. And this is Kirby and I talking about playing the points game. The reality is a lot of times when you see all these people, speaking of like comparing your lives, a lot of these people who are flying first class did not put out $5,000 for a flight. When we flew, I think this was on, we go into it there, but how we got our lie down flat seats to Japan and things like that. So like, if you are going like, oh, one day I'm going to be wealthy enough that I pay for first class tickets, like, I don't know how much money I mean, I'm getting closer and closer, but like, I'm still like, no, I am not paying $2,000 to fly first class to Phoenix. Like, no, it's not happening. So I'm still a thrifter and still a little cheap at heart. So most of the time, if you see me flying first class right now, it's because I did it on points. So I don't need to introduce Kirby because he's been on the podcast forever and ever. He is my husband of 15 years. We celebrated 15 years last year. Last week, we got married on chiropractic's birthday because I'm a real chiropractor like that. No, just kidding. And he's my best friend. And I love him more than I've ever loved him. And I am so freaking excited to be married to someone who can not just like get me into first class, but also edit my ads and teach me AI, and is the only person that like I would trust to plan a trip to Italy with. So cheers, babe. Love you. All right. So let's pray and learn about points. Dear God, thank you so much for our best friends that we have the privilege of marrying, hopefully. For my single folks out there, do not settle. Because having a true spiritual soulmate in your life there's no money amount that you can make that replaces what a good marriage can provide in joy to your life. For those that are hearing this and going, ouch, Lauren, I'm in the middle of a divorce, F you. Hey, look, I am telling you, you needed to hear this today because you are getting out of a bad one and you're going to find a great one. So cheers to you, babe. Yeah, I guess that's my prayer. Thanks for our soulmates. In your name we pray. Amen. By the way, I looked up because Kirby and I are talking about twin flame. I said, oh, you're my twin flame. He's like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know, actually. Like TikTok uses it and I looked it up. It's not as cool as soulmates, like not at all. So I'm going to stay millennial and keep using soulmate because it's a way better definition than twin flame. Look it up. Twin flame's not cool. All right. Without further ado, here is From the Vault, episode 268 with Kirby and me. Enjoy. Okay. So let's kind of start with I guess Tokyo is what started the conversation a little bit.
Hmm.
And then because we were talking about it, we kind of manifested a couple people reaching out asking about credit card points and like things like that. And so it was like, oh, maybe we should do an episode on this because it's not in the multi-passionate chiropreneur, which maybe we should do a separate training at some point for that. But like,
It's one of the side modules. We have
oh
someone
yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about it, but
Yes, Megan MacArthur
yep.
has. That's right. I forgot. There's so much amazing stuff in there I even forgot. So yeah. So tell the Tokyo. I guess you want to start with Tokyo. Just, keep it brief, buddy.
Yeah. So after you guys told everyone in the world that we were going to Tokyo, I was trying to figure out how we were going to get to Tokyo and what the availability was and what the pricing was. And it kind of dovetails with this because we've been playing this credit card game for so long that we've been amassing tons and tons of Sky Miles with Delta. And we have multiple Delta credit cards through our different businesses and personal. So this year, Delta revamped their whole Sky Miles program and switched to completely what's called medallion qualifying dollars. And with that rollover and with our credit cards, we had this fantastic opportunity because with the rollovers and the incentives for people who are already customers, I got diamond status and Lauren got platinum status. With that came, and these are like the ins and outs that you learn as you're getting into these things. So with diamond status, you get upgrade certificates on international routes. Normally, if you're platinum or lower, you can only upgrade domestic tickets. So when we looked at this, we had enough points to get all of us in premium select, which is like just below like the really, really fancy seats on international flights. Very nice. They recline quite a bit. You have some leg room, you have arm room. But with those upgrade certificates on the way there, we were able to upgrade all of us to lie flat seats, which normally would have cost like $12,000 for just the way there.
Yeah, just the way
Um,
there.
so it was kind of the ultimate vindication of me nerding out on this stuff and like directing our spend both personally and like telling what the team which cards to spend stuff on because we've been building this status, we've been building all these miles for years and years, saying like we're going to use them on something fancy one day. And this was the thing. Like we cashed in I think 500,000 miles for the original seats and then use the upgrade certificates. So we are going to have some very spoiled children, but on a 13 and a half hour flight, being able to sleep, being able to really enjoy the food, getting to go into Tokyo like rested and ready to hit the ground is going to be a game changer for us. And
Hmm.
we got all of the fees and all the stuff that been paying over the years, like in one fell swoop, we made all of it absolutely worth it. So it was kind
Yeah.
of a cool moment for us. And then we started talking about like, that wasn't just a fluke. That wasn't signing up for a rewards card and spending for 3 months. That was a dedicated philosophy for the last, I think we really got into this game probably 7 or 8 years ago. And the hard work,
But
we've had a
since
lot of
then, I mean,
benefits along
getting
the
to
way.
diamond, yeah,
Yeah.
like getting fully there. But I mean, I would say for the last 3 or 4 years, our kids are not, they will always ask, are we flying first class? Because we get upgraded to first class just enough that like is like a 50 we flew first class to Hawaii
Yep.
because that's domestic. And so like it is something where yes, this specific one, but like really the benefits of
Yeah.
the,
And like almost we take for granted that we fly comfort almost every time, but we almost exclusively buy main cabin tickets. Like we just get upgraded almost every time to
yeah.
at least that and then sometimes first as well. And that's because the status we've built mostly with credit card spend. We do travel. I mean, you travel a little bit more than I do. You probably fly 8 to 10 times a year, and I fly 5 to 8 times a year. But for us to like normally, if you were just flying, you would not, you'd be, silver or maybe gold with that amount of just travel. It's mostly because of the credit cards and that value. A lot of times if a main cabin ticket is $500, a Comfort Plus ticket is $800 or $900, and a first class ticket is $1,500. So we've gotten tens of thousands of dollars of upgrades from using these strategies.
So before you get into strategy and like how, to select the right card that fits your life, how to track all this stuff, how to gamify it basically.
Mhm.
Um, who are there certain people that should maybe not consider entering this game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, so credit cards are a useful tool if
They
you're looking at.
can be a useful tool. They're also a way for the big government or whoever, the guy, to allow you to just be addicted to consumption and not
Mhm.
worry about collecting more debt. Like kind of like
Yeah.
what they're doing with student loans, it's just now it's at Target and
Yeah,
Costco.
there's definitely a psychological thing with credit cards. I've read different studies. One said that people spend like 13 to 18% more if they're paying with credit card versus cash. Other ones have said people will spend up to 400% more because they're not thinking about it, because there's not that pain in the moment. You're not
Yeah.
handing over something that you know the value of. You're just going like, "Oh, I'll get it later," or you spend $50 today and $75 tomorrow and $200 here
You
and
don't have to like
$400 there.
physically see the money going away.
Yeah,
Like,
and you don't have to see how low your bank account's getting. You go like, we'll get it. Like, along with tracking, when your cards roll over and your point status, I track our bank accounts. Like, I'm the one who physically moves the money around. So like I have an intrinsic tie to knowing like, can we afford this? Can we put it on the credit card? And people can get behind and it can be crushing. Like, there's been times where we had downturns in business or big expenses where like we truly were behind on the credit cards for a little bit of like carrying balances of like $10,000 or more. And to me, like that is on my mind all the time. So like that's when I get edgy with you. Of you go like, we should do this to the kitchen, or we should like go to Costco, and I'm just like, no, we should not. The next 3 months are getting that credit card back to zero. Like,
I'm
so
like, okay.
if you don't have that discipline, it's easy to get in a lot of trouble. Like
Mhm.
if you're looking at it and going like, one of our business cards, we have like a $70,000 limit. So like if we only owed $12,000, you could, if you're the right kind of personality, you could go, I'm not worried about that at all. We're nowhere near our limit. Like, you
Mhm.
need to be the personality that's going like, no, I want to be as close to zero as possible. I'm not seeing a lot of headroom. I'm
Yeah.
seeing debt. Like,
Yeah, and there is I don't know what other people's algorithms are, but, like, I have the basic bitch algorithm where who's addicted to travel and
mhm.
romantasy novels. They've got me figured out, and so, like, there's a ton of reels that are just, like, whippy of, like, "Oh, a responsible person pays off their debt. Ha I'm in Italy," and it's like, "Oh,
That's icky.
that's
Because the like
icky."
that because like this is the worst kind of debt. Like, all of these cards have 20 to 26% annual interest rates. Like,
Oh.
if you get behind on this stuff, if you are carrying $20,000 of debt that you are not properly servicing, you're costing yourself $5,000 a year just in interest payments.
Mhm.
Like, these are scary, scary tools. So like, do not take, like, we'll talk about all the joys of it and all the benefits, but like there is a definite downside, and everything is built. Like, all of these things that they're giving you is because they're anticipating that you will misuse this, and they will get more than their money back. It's like how I talk about insurance of like, they're always going to win. Credit card companies are some of the biggest companies in the world, and they're not only trained in finance, they're trained in human behavior. So like, if you're not on top of this stuff, like, you will get in trouble and it's hard to get out.
Okay, so then let's talk about credit scores. Because a lot of listeners like have probably a lot in debt from student
Mhm.
loans. Like, are the student loans affecting their credit scores? Are they like, can you only qualify for some of these credit cards if you have a good credit score? Or like if you
S-
own the business? I asked like four
Some,
questions there.
yeah.
Sorry.
So some of these cards will require that you do have a good credit score, and it's
What's a
usually
good
the,
credit card score?
so like anything over 750, I think
Okay.
it might even be over 700. Some of them just say like you have to have good credit to even get some of like the premier ones. So I'm thinking like the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Platinum American Express. I believe you have to have a good credit score to even get those. But the nice thing is they'll tell you in minutes, like when you put your stuff in. That brings it to like, applying for these cards will hurt your credit score
I was gonna
temporarily.
ask that. So if I apply for a credit card and they're like, "Girl, no, no."
Yeah.
That
So
will hurt my score?
that's what they call a hard check. So like they're digging into your
Hard
credit
check.
score.
It's like a hard pass.
Like
Oh,
they're no. So like a hard check is just like when you apply for a credit card, you are applying for financing. You're applying for basically a loan that you're going to use at different times. So it will go on your score. So like you will, if you're going to get like 2 or 3 of these cards at a time, and you were an 800, it might drop you to a 720 or a 750.
even if
Um,
you
even if you're
got, even
approved.
if they said yes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Because someone
Because
is
they
checking
know
in
somebody's watching me and they know at any given time I could have a midlife crisis and I have access to a
to a lot of
lot.
money. Yep.
Okay.
Uh, so like if you're about to apply for like a home loan in the next like 3 to 6 months, I wouldn't advise doing, checking out because like you can apply,
These
they
are
can
good
approve
little
you.
nuggets.
Yeah, because it will
You're not delivering
temporarily
a
dig.
boring episode.
But here's the long-term thing. So people go like, okay, so I'm out. I don't want to hurt my credit score. Long-term, credit cards can be a great tool to build your credit score. So there's something called utilization rate. So one, they want to know that you're not using, they want to keep it below 30%. So for right now, so like say you got 3 cards at $35,000 limits each, and
Okay.
you always keep your balances below $5,000, $10,000 on each of them. They want to see that you are using credit. If you never use credit, you have a really bad credit score. If you
Okay.
use too much credit, if you have $90,000 of balances on $105,000 of credit line, your utilization rate is too high.
All right, I
If you
have a
keep your
question.
utilization
So,
rate below 30, it's good.
okay, so if I have a $30,000 limit,
Mm-hmm.
they want to see me spending $10,000 on that card, basically,
Or
over the
or
course of a year.
or below. No, what balances you're keeping. So
They
like if
want me to
if
have a balance.
they want you
So if
to,
I pay off, so if somebody's plan was to get down to zero every month.
you can do that. And that's actually good because it shows
Oh,
that you are credit worthy. You just don't want to go over 30% and keep it over 30% because that shows that like you're incapable of servicing the credit that you've received.
okay.
So like if you're consistently having balances in total across all cards, so like you don't have to necessarily worry about it on a card by card basis,
Oh,
but if you are
okay.
using more than 30% of your available credit and you're not servicing it down
All credit.
below that mark, then that gradually over time dings your score.
Okay, I
But
have a
using the
question.
card, okay.
So if Amex, so okay, so let's say I have a $50,000 limit with Amex.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Delta, I've got a 30,000, but then
Which
I
is also
have
Amex.
shit. Okay. A different card, my
Okay.
Visa.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got 50 over here, I've got 30 here. And then I also have with the bank a line of credit. Do they all know I have a
Yes.
hundred, let's just say like, so even though I only have 50,000 with Amex, Amex knows I have $175,000 worth of credit. And so the 30% that you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
is like across all of
I
them.
believe so. They may treat credit cards different than lines of credit that are secured against something. So
Okay.
like a line of credit on like a home equity loan might be treated differently because it's backed by an asset,
Yeah.
whereas
And it's
credit
a much
cards are just,
smaller percentage and stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I was saying is you can get down to zero, but what I wouldn't recommend is paying it down to zero before it hits a statement. So you want to get that statement that says you owe $5,000, then
Okay.
pay it off before the next month where you would start to incur interest. So like you can pretty much borrow with no interest for a month, but
Okay.
you do want the credit bureaus to see that you are using the card and that you're paying it off. So there's a few other things that they look into, and this comes into play when we talk about all these different cards and utilizing multiple cards. Is there one of the things that goes into your credit score is the average length of account. So if the only thing you had is the car loan that you've had for 5 years, and then you get 4 credit cards in a short period of time, now they're taking the 5 years from that one, but the 6 months only of the other 4, and your length of average credit goes way down. It's why one of the cards that I had for a long time was like the first credit card I got in college. And even though I was barely using it, I kept it active because that showed that I had 20 years of my oldest account was like 20 years old. So they're going like, okay, you've been borrowing and responsibly paying for a long time. We always kept our utilization rate low. I didn't apply for a ton of cards all at once. So like we have like 12 different credit cards, but I didn't make 12 applications at once. I like staged it out based on what we needed at the
12
time.
different credit cards.
I mean, we have
Lord help
4
me.
businesses and personal, and we have
I know, but
Amex
like for
and
real,
Visas
Lord
and
help me if something happens to you because I'm like, what? Okay. We'll get to the point where you're tracking it because I know you have a spreadsheet. We'll get there, but
mm-hmm. So yeah, so like and you do get so like everyone gets a free credit score annually, and I would advise everyone to take advantage of that. Also
where do you do that? Or like,
with any of the credit bureaus, Equifax, or why am I blanking on them? There's 3 major credit bureaus, and your score will differ across them because they measure or they weight things slightly differently.
so you can
Um,
do that once a year,
yep,
anytime, or is it like in
Experian.
January?
I think it's once per calendar year. So
Okay.
you could do it tomorrow, and then I think you could do it again next January.
Okay.
But a lot of these cards have credit tracking and credit planning tools within them too. So like on the side, once you're logged into your credit card, you can play around with scenarios. I know for some of them, I believe it's Amex does that, where you can like plan out your score and say what would happen to my score if I applied for a new card, what would
Mm,
happen if I increased my credit limit, what would happen if I paid $10,000 down on one of my cards, like how would that affect my score? So you can play around with it once you're in the system.
okay. Okay. So anything else on specifically like credit score and considering like holding off on going and applying to a bunch? Because my next question then is, all right, so you can't go and just sign up for 3 tomorrow. We don't want you to do that.
I mean, you can if you have no other big purchases coming up that you're going to, if you're going to apply for a car loan or a house loan in the next like 6 months to a year, it's not advisable. But if you're like, house been paying off for 5 years, car I'm locked in for a 6-year payment, and my credit score still good, and I have a strategy that I want this bundle of 3 cards, and I have heard, I don't know exactly which ones, but the credit bureaus will know if you're like rate shopping. So like if in a 2-week period you make 5 inquiries, but it's like, oh, they applied to American Express, they applied to Chase, they applied to Citibank, they're shopping for a card, they're not going to open every account. Usually that figures itself out in a couple months where they go like, okay, they did only open 2 lines of credit. This makes sense. So yeah, you can ding your credit score for temporary, because long term, if you are using these cards responsibly, it's going to build your score up. Like I think when we had like all our cards in place, our credit, we had started at like 800, got down to like 720, and since we've been using the cards responsibly, I think we have like 825 credit scores now.
Okay, so how would you recommend someone, so let's just assume that the advice you're going to give is for someone who has one business
Mm-hmm.
and personal. What kind of advice would you recommend of like how to begin shopping for what the right credit card to open is?
Yeah. So first, I would say look at what you spend on and look at what you want out of this. So like the simplest, most straightforward, no nonsense stuff are cashback cards. So like if you're just like, I spend a bunch of money on my credit card, I just want some money back. There are a ton of those. Capital One has a bunch of them. I don't know. Amex usually deals in points. Chase has some cards too, where you can get pretty simple cards that are just like you get 1.5% back. But then you do end up getting into the game because a lot of these cards, even the cashback cards, will be like, but if you get 2% back or 3% back on groceries and gas stations, and 4% back on restaurant purchases. But there's these portals, so whatever card you get, you'll be signing in to Chase or Citibank or American Express, and then they'll usually have rotating promotions of like, in the next quarter you get 5% back on Uber Eats or whatever. So like you can still play games within the cashback world of like, okay, I'm going to shift some of my spending to that. They might have a promotion of like all restaurant purchases get 5% back for the next 90 days. So you go like, oh, okay, cool. It's a 5% discount on every time we go out to eat. Um, if you are someone who is looking more on the travel side, then you have a couple different routes to go. So there are kind of the accumulate points within the system and then use their travel portal to pay for, or use your points in their travel portal to pay for your hotels or your flights. So that's like the American Express system where you earn Amex points that then you can use on Hilton hotels or Marriott hotels or Delta flights or whatever. Chase Sapphire is the same kind of thing. And then there are the branded direct credit cards. So like that's the Delta credit card, the Hilton credit cards, the Marriott, the Hyatt, United Airlines, American Airlines stuff. So like if so like we're in that situation where when we fly, the airport we fly out of is a major Delta hub. So for us, it makes sense to really accumulate and go all in on Delta. If we were out of Chicago, I think that's more of a United hub. I think it is one of the bigger United hubs, but they also have a bunch of different airlines flying out of there. So you might go like, I fly United half the time, Delta a quarter of the time. Sometimes, I'll get on a Southwest flight to California. Then you're going like, okay, I usually fly a bevy of airlines. It might be better for you to get one of those points accumulator cards, like I said, like Chase Sapphire or Amex Platinum or Amex Gold, where like you go, okay, I'm going to just gather up all my points and then I'll use some of it towards this airline, some of it towards that airline. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So you get so you want to look at where you're spending your money. So you had mentioned that you were going to start looking into the Costco credit card because I am doing such a winning job. Like, so basically, walk me through. So, like, we've got a Delta, which is also an Amex, and we also have a different
Which you
Amex,
can't
but
use at Costco because they only accept
can't.
Visa. Which
Right.
that's another one too. Is like looking at where you're spending. If you're going to Costco and you're trying to accumulate all your points on your Delta card or your Amex Platinum or whatever, but you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars at Costco, and you're going like, oh, I'm putting it on this run of the mill Visa card that's only 1% cash back and it doesn't treat Costco any different than if I was at a gas station or whatever. Then you go, okay, this is enough spend where I forget what the Costco card is. Is it like 3% back
I
or
think so.
something like that on purchases that you go, okay, that's so enough of a difference that like maybe we should get a dedicated Costco card. I haven't looked at the point structure there or the cash back structure of like if it's any better than any of our other cards for, for going to Walmart, on a weekday. I probably wouldn't use it for anything but Costco unless there was some kind of benefit to it. Which gets you into like the nerd stuff here of like
Mhm.
a lot of these cards have amazing benefits. So like any one of these cards that we talk about today and pretty much any card out there, if there's an annual fee, if you know what you're doing and it actually makes sense to you, you will get way more than the value of your annual fee back. But it depends on like, are you going to use that? Like
Okay, so yeah, switch to talking about some annual fees. So like what are some because these credit cards aren't I'm sure the Costco one is free. I can't imagine
probably,
they
yeah,
have an
probably
annual
free.
fee.
I doubt they have an annual fee. And
But
there are
like
tons of no annual fee cards that
yes.
are, but usually if you get the no annual fee card, you're going to get straight forward terms like 1.5% cash back.
Right.
That's kind
But
of it.
talk about some of the like prices of annual fees for like ones that, just off your head and like what are some of the extra benefits of those?
Yep. So then usually most hotels, the big hotel chains will have a mid price like or a low price like $95 card. And usually along with that, we'll get you
$95 a year.
$95 a
Yep.
year. But for that, you will usually get some level of low to mid status. So like if you get the basic Marriott card, I haven't looked at that one in a while, but I think it's like,
Is that our
okay, you're
Ritz? No, that wouldn't be the
no,
basic
the
one.
Ritz one is very different. Um, so like the lowest level Amex that Marriott has, I think you get like gold or silver status, and then you get one free night reward every year. But the amount of points that free night reward is to stay at a mid to lower tier Marriott. So it's like 35,000 points. So it's free night, but only on stays that would be 35,000 points or less. So you're
Right.
kind of looking at like a $275 hotel room.
So you're
Like
paying $95 to get one free, if one, as long as you spend a certain amount to get one free night a year in.
at a mid-level Marriott, which if you're using it right, like some properties, like that's where you get into the deep
That's where
points
you
game,
can, yep,
is
of
you
like
go
this,
like,
this hotel in Sedona is normally $500 a night, but Marriott has it only as a mid-level hotel.
yeah. So like that's the thing of like IHG is a hotel chain that normally is like kind of lower budget
The
hotels.
Hiltons.
No, Hilton's a different brand. So IHG has their lower budget ones, but they also own the Intercontinental Group. So like you can stay at some luxury hotels under IHG, but most of them are lower level. Like you couldn't stay there on points because those are still really high point stays. But like all of these hotel chains have their luxury and they have their super discount. So the lower level cards will get you a free night at the lower level one, and usually some lower level status where like you might get an upgrade, but I wouldn't count on it.
Okay. Keep going.
So
We're
then
done.
the next tier, it gets, there's kind of a mid tier, but not every credit card has this. So like then you get into, and we'll kind of jump across to airline cards. So like there's a basic Delta card where I think you just get some Sky Miles. Then the Amex or the Delta Platinum starts to get better, but it costs more. So I think that one last I checked was 300. They might have increased it to 350 a year. But along with that is you get a status boost. Like I think you get guaranteed silver and points towards achieving gold. You get more miles per dollar you spend. So
On
like
Delta, right?
on everything.
Okay.
So you can accumulate points towards status and you get more Sky Miles for every dollar you spend if you have that card. So like for every $20 you spend, you get one medallion qualifying dollar, which is how you keep the ticker going to get to gold and then platinum and then diamond. But if you only have a Delta Platinum card, you have to spend, what is it? Like $560,000 if you were going to get to diamond status just on spend. But like for
In a
every mile
year?
you've in a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
So I need
but
to go to Costco more.
but nope, can't go to Costco because it's an Amex,
Oh,
remember.
oh shit, that's right. Damn it, Costco.
But what they do, so like I said, if you use it, all of these cards have more value than your annual fee. So with that Delta Platinum, you get a companion certificate every year. So you can use that, basically buy one, get one flight if someone's traveling with you. Again, it has its restrictions. I believe it's only main cabin or maybe Delta Comfort as well. And then you have to find when you can actually use it.
Mm-hmm.
So like kind of with the hotel thing of like, you get a free thing, but don't expect a ton. Like you can only use it for domestic flights. And
Yep.
I haven't been
And
able
there
to
are
redeem
certain
one.
times, like, so like
Only so many can be used
Jess
on a
is able
flight.
to use a companion for Hawaii,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it probably has to do with the month she's going and this and that. Like Hawaii's not always going to be companion if you
Yeah,
were to
generally
be.
my rule of thumb is I say if it's over $600, there's probably no redemption. Like they're not going to
Okay.
let you use a companion flight on a $1,500 JFK to Hawaii flight. Like they go like, no, that's not what this is for.
That's not what this is about,
Kind of
lady.
like Marriott being like, no, you don't get to stay at the Ritz for free. Like that's worth a lot of points. Um, so then the next level up is the premier cards. So like one of the ones that we have is the Delta Reserve card. And that's $600 a year in an annual fee. But that comes with way better perks. So like you get lounge access with that one if you spend over $75,000. So like Delta changed their whole thing where if you have the reserve card, you get 15 lounge visits or 10 lounge visits a year. And then beyond that, you have to pay $50, but you can still get in if you're that kind of card holder. If you spend over $75,000 on that card in a year, you get unlimited lounge access for the rest of the year and I believe the next year as well. And then remember how I said for every $20 you spend, you get one MQD on
Mm-hmm.
Delta to like get to the next status. If you're spending on the reserve card, every dollar you spend, or every $10 you spend. So you have a chance of spending your way into higher statuses. And also there's this is so inside baseball, but like the MQD thing is they give you a status boost. So if you have that card, they start you out the year with 2,500 miles instantly. So like that is worth a lot. If you're
Is it?
thinking it's worth $25,000 of spend that you would have had to do to
Oh,
achieve those.
got it.
And a
Yeah.
lot of this is a lot easier if you are a road warrior. If you're truly frequently traveling, you can get to those statuses a lot easier because like every mile you fly, I believe gets you, or every dollar you spend with Delta gets you a direct MQD. So like you could get 2,000 by spending $2,000 on flights, but we just don't fly as much. But like I asked a question in a message board mentioning that I was Diamond and I was wondering how to use these things. And they're like, if you're Diamond, you should already know this, how this upgrade thing works. And I was like, yeah, I mostly got there through credit card spend, which was the wrong thing to say on Reddit in a Delta
Did
forum.
you get
Because,
ripped a new one?
oh, they're so mad. So
So,
mad. Because there's these people who travel 40 weeks a year
but
and I'm getting
okay,
the
just
upgrade
to be
next to
clear,
them.
most of those people who are okay, not guess not most, but a lot, like that's a perk for salesmen where it's
Yeah.
like their business is paying for them to fly every single week, but they're getting the points. So like, okay,
Yeah.
anyways.
And they're already being able to pay and sit in like Delta Comfort or first class. Like if they're consultants, like you can fly business class. And so like they don't care about the price of things. Like they aren't
Yeah.
scrimping and saving. So
Talk to me about Amex.
okay. So Amex is my preferred credit card for what we use stuff for because they have the high end ones that we want. They have the relationship with Delta, and in general, I find that they give a really good value for the
Mm-hmm.
points. Along with that, though, is the backside that like especially in small towns, they're not accepted everywhere because I think their merchant fees are higher.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving us the card user a ton of extra benefit, but it's kind of on the back of the merchants too, because they're charging them more to accept the cards. So that's the one thing that like you have to have a balance of cards because you don't want to run your entire business off an Amex because then you will eventually run into some purchase where it's like we don't take that, and then you don't want to be pulling out your personal Visa or MasterCard or Discover to cover that. I mean, you can, and then you just have to record it properly in accounting. But
But
it's
all
good to
Amex
have.
isn't the same, right? So do they still have the same 3 tiers?
Amex has a bunch of tiers. So on their direct cards, I think they have a free one. That's the green one. Then there's the Amex Gold, which I believe is like is it gold then? Gold might be like $100 or $150 a year.
Okay.
And then the Amex Platinum, which is, the nice one that most people want. That's like $700 a year.
Okay.
But again, like I actually, that was one of the examples that I wrote down. So like on the personal side, so you go like, I'm spending $700 a year just to have the credit card. Like that's ridiculous. Like they should be giving it to me because I'm going to spend this money. But it comes along with stuff that, again, if you know that you're going to use this stuff and you know how to play the game, you can get, I think they say $1,500 of almost guaranteed value if it's stuff that you were going to buy anyway.
So what kind
So
of
like,
stuff?
so a $200 hotel credit every year, but you have to book through their portal. So you have to go to Amex Travel, find the hotel. Their prices usually are close or match, sometimes actually beat what's on the hotel's advertised thing. So $200 a year on that. On the personal one, $240 of digital entertainment. So it's a $20 credit every month that goes towards you pay for Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus
Oh,
on that card. Then you get a statement credit of
do you have to
$20
like,
every month.
okay, so with that, do you
I
have to
do
like
believe you have
submit to
to.
them? Because like you've told me like,
No,
oh, you get a certain amount of Uber credit. Like,
no, you
so
just,
it's
yeah,
just if I just spend it, they'll take care of it. I don't have to like submit my receipt and be like,
no,
hey, I spent
no.
$27 in Austin.
Yeah, you may have to go online in your account and just say like enroll in this program
Okay.
for that one. But then they just see because like they're
They
tied, they
automatically
know,
do it.
yeah, they go, oh, that was to Hulu, $15, $15 back. You also spent $15 on Disney Plus. You already spent 15 on Hulu. We'll give you the other 5 for
Okay,
Disney
so
Plus.
once you enroll in it, they're automatically doing that.
Yep. They also have $150 or $155 towards Walmart Plus, which I think just basically straight up pays for Walmart Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Walmart Plus, you also get Paramount Plus as a video service. So like kind of double piggybacking on that. Like you mentioned, $15 a month on Uber. So you just make your Amex Platinum your primary payment card, and it will automatically give you the $15 credit with Uber. It's a relationship they have. I believe that's also on the Delta Reserve card as well. There's a $200 airline fee credit. You do have to select which airline that's going to be for. And it's not towards flights or upgraded seats. It's towards like baggage, lounge entry. I forget it's like incidental stuff. Like in-flight purchases. So like if
So like
you,
when I'm buying champagne on Sun Country because whatever, that's why you're like, make sure you use that credit card.
yeah. So we do have a Sun Country card because we use them
Oh,
consistently enough.
I have a Sun Country card
Mhm.
also.
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
you get free drink vouchers from them. But yeah,
Oh,
so like if you did buy
because
on
usually when we're
Delta,
flying Sun Country, we're on our way to Mexico
yeah,
and like they just beat out Delta. We really don't like when and our kid, you want to see our kids get bougie and like know that they travel enough. They'll be like, oh, we're going to Terminal 2. We're flying
yeah,
Sun Country.
they don't
Like,
even have entertainment in the seat backs.
you've got a giant 12-inch iPad. You're fine. But Kirby, they
Bougie
don't
ass
even have a
kids.
lounge in Terminal 2. So I'm like ripping on my kids, yet I'm like, Terminal 2, get a lounge. Anyways.
Yeah, so that brings us to the Amex Platinum lounge access. So you can get into Centurion lounges, you can get into Delta
Mhm.
lounges, you can get into Escape lounges, Priority Pass lounges. So like, and that's really changed the game, especially for us with family travel.
Oh,
Is like, it is so nice to not be wandering the airport, going to 6 different food kiosks, us being like, I kind of want to drink. I'm going to on a family vacation or whatever. Like I
I
want to
need to
just sit.
drink for
I
this.
want to sit in this like bar and have a couple drinks, and the drinks are all $15 a piece or whatever. And finding seats to sit near your gate, but everyone's already there waiting or whatever. Like the lounge is nice. You go in,
Oh
it's
yeah.
all you can eat, all you can drink, rail stuff. But and it gives you like a little cocoon where your family finds 4 seats together and you just kind of relax. And again, depending on where you are at and where you're traveling from, like Minneapolis is a Delta hub. Delta's kind of the premium airline in the country right now. Delta lounges are fantastic. And in
Mhm.
Minneapolis, they have 3 of them, and their newest one is one of the best ones
Oh,
I've ever seen.
it
And
is
I've
one of
been
the
to a
best. Go
bunch.
to if you are really like vibing with this, go. It is worth the walk to the G Concourse Delta Lounge. And
Yeah,
if you do, if like the one or two people who will remember me saying this and will happen to be in Minneapolis and go, I'm gonna trust Lauren. Tag me when you do it, when you're there.
it is cool. It is walk to the bar in the back. That's like
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
best
Bar in
part.
the back.
Like, okay, so also you get Clear Plus for free, which also includes TSA PreCheck.
Oh, yeah.
So you can like skip the
There's global
lines.
entry on one of these, right? Somebody gives
Global
global.
entry, I believe, is on the business side. This is just the personal. I'll tell you what the differences are.
Okay, you're okay,
And
but you're I'm already drowning.
I'm saying, so like this is the thing, is when you go, why would a credit card cost $700 a year?
Hmm.
If these are things you're going to use, like even if just a few of them, if you're like, okay, cool, I already subscribed to Disney Plus, so there's $240 off there. I want Walmart Plus, or I already have it. There's another 150 there. I easily spend 15 in Ubers, another $200 there. And I've been wanting to get Clear, another $200 there. You've already
And this is a
more than
dumb
paid
question, but
for.
like all these are like going to be listed on the website, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of this is right on the website. And then on the travel side, if you have an Amex Platinum, there's a bunch of benefits around their what they call their fine hotel collection. So it's across different things. There's Marriott's, there's Hyatt's, there's Hilton's, there's IHG's, there's whatever. If you, depending on the properties, if you book through the Amex travel portal, a lot of them will have like 3rd night free or 5th night free, which a lot of these are really nice. So if you're spending $700-800 a night on a hotel, getting a night free is awesome.
Hmm.
It also comes with daily breakfast for 2 at participating hotels, $100 of resort credit, upgrades when available. So like, especially if you're traveling and you don't have status. So like we have high Marriott status, but we have low Hyatt status. if we were going to travel to a Hyatt, if I could book it through Amex, we would have a better chance of getting upgraded. Also, as did I already say the $100 resort credit
Yeah.
at any of these?
Yeah. But what?
Um, yeah. So on the business side, most of the things are pretty similar, but they have more business focused stuff. So you get $200 back from any purchase from Dell twice a year. So first half of the
Mm.
year, second half of the year. So like
What about
even if you
Apple? Some of these jerks are Apple people. They're like Dell. Who buys from
well,
Dell?
here's the nice thing about Dell is it's not just a computer set. Like last year, we got to December and I was like, oh, I don't need our team doesn't need a computer right now. But go on Dell and it's like, oh, I got lights for the light that is illuminating me right now on top of my laptop was a $25 purchase from Dell. I bought 2 video games for the girls and I think I got like a new mouse or something. So they have a bunch of different stuff.
Like
Like
an online Best Buy.
and it's free money. It's
Yeah.
money that you're going to lose if you don't spend anyway. So it's like go check it out in June and go check it out in December and
Yeah.
pick some stuff out for yourself.
Yeah.
They also have a $360 credit for Indeed if you're posting your jobs online.
Mm.
So that's nice. $150 credit towards Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you need
Mm.
Photoshop or Lightroom to like edit your photos or Audition for like podcasting or just cleaning up the audio on your stuff, like that's a nice one. $10 a month cell phone. If it's your primary card for paying your cell phone, they just give you a $10 statement credit back every month. $200 airline credit again. And then I think this might be one of the differences in the personal versus business is the status that you get across different hotel and car rental chains. So you're immediately gold status for Marriott and Hilton, and you get like, I think it's like President Circle or like top tier, and you pick which one of the car rental things that you want status with, whichever one you plan on using the most. And you get the kind of thing where you like rent a sedan and then go pick anything in the President Circle line of cars. So you can get major upgrades that way. So, oh, the
Okay.
other cool thing, one more that I don't think enough people know about or take advantage of is they have a cell phone protection plan. So like right now you might be through AT&T or T-Mobile paying 20 extra dollars a month to have cell phone protection that then even when you break your phone, they charge you $200 deductible. If you purchase the phone with your Platinum Business Amex, you have an $800 replacements for like accidental damage. You can do that up to twice per year, and it's only a $50 deductible, but you have to have purchased it with that card.
Now, Amex does have more protection on purchases, though, too, don't they?
Yeah, so they have I think they have a better fraud resolution team from what I've seen. Like we've had stuff that like cards, someone charged stuff, someone got a hold of a virtual card number and they were so quick to resolve it. And then they also have an extended warranty that anything you purchased has or any electronic you purchase new has a extended 1 year past the manufacturer's warranty. And if you're buying big ticket items, if you're buying computers, if you're buying camera equipment, this can come in really handy because if that thing breaks or, that's not accidental. That's more like my computer just glitched out, but I only had a 1 year warranty on it, but it's a $3,000 computer. Amex will cover that up to $10,000 an item and up to $50,000 total in a year. So if you had your camera and your computer glitch out in the same year and they were each $5,000, they would cover both of those.
Okay.
But you have to have purchased it with that card.
Right. How do you track all of this?
So I have a spreadsheet because a lot of these things, like I said, it's if you're going to use it, then it's worth it. But you have to know like, okay, so everything's usually based on like when you first started as like your anniversary date.
Okay.
So that's the day that you'll be charged the annual fee.
Okay.
And that's also usually the day that like whatever reward you got will expire. So if you applied for a Hilton card tomorrow, they would give you a 35,000, or I will use Marriott because I actually know those. Marriott would give you your 35,000 point redemption night, and it would expire 1 year
It
from now.
expires.
Yep. So
Yep.
almost all of these benefits. So same thing with the companion fare on Delta. Those expire usually on like your anniversary date. So like it's not the Delta Reserve card may not be worth it if you're not going to take a flight in the next year, especially if you're not going to. So like the nice thing about the Delta Reserve card is that companion pass applies to including first class tickets. So you can go, we found a flight for $450. We could either fly coach and just pay $450 for two people, or we could get the $1,000 first class seat, but both of us are flying first class for $1,000 for money we were pretty much going to spend anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they do expire. So you have to keep, I have a spreadsheet of when our annual dates are, like when I applied, when the rollover is,
And
when
then do
to
you have
expect.
like all of the like, so like, that, Sun Country, we have X amount of credit on there and Ritz.
I used to track it closer like that, where I would have what our credit limit is, what like value we got, like whether it was a free night or upgrade certificates or whatever, check off if we had used it or not. Now, since I'm just part of my week is going in and logging into the different credit card portals, I'm just more familiar, and we travel so much that we are using them better.
So somebody looking to game is going to have a spreadsheet, and they are likely looking at all of their different credit card portals minimum of once a month,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
okay.
Minimum once a month.
So you're logging into every single credit card, checking and seeing if there's anything expiring.
Yeah.
If there's any
And it's not only your credit card portals, it's your travel portals. So like you can see in your Amex statement that you have this card, but to see your free night certificate, you're logged into your Marriott account, and it'll show you all your certificates at once. So like we have the Ritz-Carlton Visa, which you can't newly apply for, but I did find if you already have a Chase card, you can transfer it to the Ritz-Carlton Visa.
Why
So
can't you newly apply for it?
they they aren't accepting new applicants. I don't know if it's like to seem
Interesting.
exclusive, but that one does have a unique thing. And so like the
Don't
two
we get a
cards we
free
use,
Ritz every year?
that's why that card is awesome. So it does
There's
have
a
a
Ritz in
higher,
Tokyo. It is
yeah,
$1,400 a night though, but we're going to be there for 2 nights. So,
we'll see.
bitch.
So yeah, so that one, it has a higher fee, but instead of a $35,000 free night, it's an 80 or a 35,000 point free night. It's an 85,000 point free night. So it basically does allow you to stay at a Ritz-Carlton for one night a year. Or I think that's where people game this thing, like those overwater bungalows in like the Maldives. Those are like a
Yes.
St. Regis, I think is
Yes,
within the Marriott family. You can get
they
one of
are. I
those for
just
like
looked.
85,000.
Ah,
So
so
like,
that's why a lot of these reels and stuff that I see, they recommend when doing the gaming thing. So like we know we're going to Tokyo. We didn't necessarily pick this trip based on like a points trip, but my friend who hired Mark, the points guy, like she was basically in a situation, I think, where she was like, we have to go on a family trip using points. And so they picked like their family trip is really like bizarre. They picked their cities or country completely based on like flights, I think, and things like that.
mhm.
Where it was like, I don't know where we're going. I guess we're going. So we picked Japan first and then we're trying. But like a lot of these games, they're like, no, look where the
Yeah, you're,
best points deal is. Cause there'll be like random flights too that are like, wait,
mhm.
why is that one? But our dates for Tokyo. So like we ended up extending our trip 2 days longer because we were looking at a points map and it was like those dates. That one is oddly lower and less points than the rest or less miles than the rest. And
Yeah, because the difference was like 150 or 200,000 sky miles was the
yeah.
difference of the 2 days. So it's like, oh, for that amount, it's worth it to stay in a hotel for another night or two and not pay that much.
Mm-hmm.
So in general, with our business, like I'll just share what we do. We primarily spend on the Delta Reserve card, which we have authorized users. Everyone under our account, all of our
Purple,
employees have
the
their own
purple one.
card. Yep. So the owners, the owner has a purple card. Every employee has a Delta Platinum card, and that's free. There's no annual fee for those. So like if you're looking at your business, double check like what the extended users or what the add-on users cost is. Because if you go like, I'm going to get the Amex Platinum and I'm going to get Amex Platinums for everyone under me, you're paying $700, and then I think you're paying $250 for everyone under you, but you can give them free Amex Gold cards, I believe. So like always look into that, especially if you have a lot of employees. So that's one side. That's our Amex spending, our Delta that gets us to status. But once we've spent $75,000 a year on that card, I tell everyone to switch over to the Ritz Visa, because that one, when you spend over $75,000 in a year, you're automatically platinum status within Marriott, because
Okay, so you're
Marriott bought
like,
Ritz.
this is when you do the credit card, like, hey, everybody, stop spending on this one. Now spend on this one.
Yep. Because once you get past those thresholds, unless you're trying to chase a certain status level with the medallion qualifying dollars, there's no extra perks
Okay.
past the 75,000 mark. And you want to get over to the other one. So like, I know this sounds bougie, but like we've built fairly big businesses. So like this is how we manage it now. We used to have Amex Platinum instead of reserve cards when we weren't spending as much, and the points redemptions were better on that card. We used to have a lower level Marriott card that we would switch over to. But like we figured out, it's kind of what I was saying up top, is like we figured we fly Delta because they're big in Minneapolis, and we like Marriott's and their different properties. We like Westin's a lot.
I love Weston's.
Ritz-Carlton's are great.
They are
But
great.
also the lower stuff like
JW's. Oh,
JW's are awesome. Sheridan's are even great. And Sheridan's
yeah,
usually
they
have a
really
club
are.
lounge. And with Sheridan's, they usually have a club lounge. And with the Ritz card, you get 5 nights where you can upgrade per year to a club level room for free. So like we know how we like to travel and what brands we like. So we focused on those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of my final questions, because my brain's gonna explode. Um, what have I not asked you that needs to be mentioned?
Oh, we didn't talk about introductory offers at all. So a
I
lot
didn't
of
know I
these,
needed to ask about that.
it's a big thing. So depending on what's going on through the year or what kind of promotion they have, all of these cards, especially the ones that you pay, will have awesome introductory offers. So like the Amex Platinum might be like get 100,000 Amex points, but there's a condition if you spend $6,000 or more within the first 6 months. Some of them might be like 5,000 in the first 3 months. So looking and comparing like who's got a good offer going right now. And the other thing is checking if you know anyone who has that card, because sometimes there'll be like private referral offers that are better than the public just go to amex.com and click apply. So what I'm going to do, so like I don't want anyone to like do us any favors, like go see what the public first private offer is. But for all the cards we have, I'll include a referral link and see if it's a better offer than what you can get. And if it happens to be the same, please use the referral link, because then we'll get like 10,000 points on the back end or whatever, if it's all the same to you. And then the other thing is to stay on top of this and to know like if a deal is good or not, because if you're just going into this for the first time, you go 60,000 Amex points sounds good to me. And if everyone in the know goes like, give it a few months, they usually twice a year have 120,000 point one.
Is that true?
Yeah, there will be different levels of offer depending on what's going on in the company or what promotions they're running. My 2 biggest sources that I love are thepointsguy.com and
Not
NerdWallet.
Mark the points guy.
I'm sure he's great too. Maybe he has a site, maybe he's even better.
His
But
name's not
like,
Mark. So
yeah, those are my 2 sites. They have
sorry,
like,
what was the second one? You said the points guy,
and NerdWallet.
Nerd Wallet.
So like
Okay.
they both have like credit card comparison things. The Points Guy both of them will have this, but the Points Guy really has good stuff on like how to game travel, because there's like we're kind of talking about the relationship between credit cards and kind of accumulating points and status, but there's a whole next level of manipulating those points within the system by like transferring. So like there's all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff where it's like you can actually fly cheaper if you transfer your Amex points to your Virgin Atlantic account, and then you buy a Chinese flight and blah, blah, blah. Like, so there are people, and you can pay people like,
Yeah, like
the
Mark.
person you talked about, like you can look those people up. Usually they do come with a hefty fee, but again,
But it's like
they
a credit
find that
card where it's
value.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're paying them $3,000 a year, but they're going to help you with $20,000 of travel that you get for the $8,000. Like, it's kind of just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like when I was talking to somebody about, a lot of times on Reels, I'll mention something about like tax strategy. And
Mhm.
anytime I do, someone's like, how do I know if I think I need a new accountant? And I was like, here's the deal. Like the accountants that are doing tax strategy come with their price tag. And so like you don't make that jump to spending $50,000 a year on your accountant until the IRS says you owe us $55,000 and
Yeah.
you would rather pay an accountant 50,000 to save you 55,000.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like, but if, so like, again, with all of that, like if you're not going to travel, if you're not going to do some of these things, then maybe it's not, maybe it's not.
Yeah. If you're just starting out, if you don't spend a lot and you don't have big travel plans, like there are a lot of great cashback cards too. Like, and there's business focused ones that might have better cash back on spending on stuff like office supplies or software. Like,
Mhm.
I just haven't been
Are
focused
the
on
things
that.
you get in the mail ever like awesome?
Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
they'll have like like you'll either get some people will, so like being in this world, someone will get like an offer to get a credit card and it'll be like 150,000 Amex points if you apply for the Delta or if you apply for the Amex Platinum today. And then like people in message boards will be like, "Did you get that?" And that I don't know how they pick them, but like you might get an exclusive offer, you might get
What
a mail
message
offer.
boards? Like the points guy message boards? Or is
Yeah,
that what you're talking about? Okay.
yeah, or
Like
on Reddit.
Facebook probably has a points. I bet you
Yep, yep. I'm in a
Facebook
couple on
points
Facebook.
guy, that would be a good one. I bet you that's really actually educational.
hmm But it's also kind of like the Airbnb group thing too. Is like
Oh,
someone will wait in and they'll be like, "I just got to silver status on Delta. Like, what should I expect?" And then like all the old grizzled points veterans will be like, "Basically nothing. If you are on a barely empty plane, they might put you in Delta Comfort if you're lucky." It's like, quit flying
oh,
my airline with me. I want all the upgrades.
the internet. All right. This was kind of what I expected. I am overwhelmed. Like it's.
I'll put a bunch of links in the bottom, both the sites I mentioned,
You think
and
this was
then
helpful? Was this
I
valuable?
I literally had someone message me to or this week who did not know we were recording this, going like, "Hey, you mentioned stuff about credit cards during the MPCP. Like, what one do you recommend?" Like
Did you make a
this.
recommendation? Well, I suppose you can't just
No, I
recommend one because it depends.
I
It depends.
it's
It
the kind of the
depends.
framework we talked about. Yeah, where do you fly out of? What do you actually want out of it? Do you care if it's Amex versus Visa? Do you want to shop at Costco or Woodman's, which only takes Discover, which is always
Ugh.
so weird.
Discover. Step up your game, Discover. Sometimes I wish that you and I are both consultants, but we're very different consultants.
hmm
Um, like sometimes I wish you were just a little more like me and we're just like confident answer. This is what you should do. Like, but you're like one of those Socratic consultants, like, well, it depends on what you want. And it's like, I don't know. Just tell me what to do. All right,
Well, I
Kirby,
do tell you
guns
what
to
to
your
do on these cards.
all right, guns to your head. Tell people which credit card to get.
Amex Platinum or Chase Sapphire Reserve.
You are welcome, listeners. Start there. Start there. Look and see if the
Those are high end
benefits.
ones. Those are high end ones, though.
Hey,
Like
no, hey, you can't
those
take
are
back
my
your
two.
answer. You can't take back your answer. You said it. You said it. You said a thing. No, not everybody's going to go do that, but they at least are going to have somewhere to start and go like, this is what Kirby recommended. I'm going to look at the, I'm going to look at the value and see if I'm going to actually use it. But do we have a Chase Sapphire? I don't have a Chase Sapphire in my, how come we don't
No,
have Chase Sapphire?
no, because one, it duplicates almost all of the same benefits as the Amex Platinum. It also has like a $600 a year fee. And it locks you into like booking through like with Chase points for like your airline stuff. And we are already in that universe with Amex, and we also have the Delta cards because we're just
So
really
did you not say
dedicated
Delta because that totally
because
depends on
it
whether you
doesn't
fly
apply.
Delta?
If you
Yep.
live in Atlanta or Minneapolis, then Delta is
Then
an
Delta would replace your
absolute no
Chase
brainer. Yep.
recommendation. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, sir. Um, you're my
Sorry
favorite
if I
guest.
bored everyone, but you
Oh
could
my
put this
God.
on when you're about to go to sleep, and I
There are so
just
many
the
times
dulcet
where I'm
tones
just
of me
like, come
talking about.
on, Kirby, finish the answer. I'm bored. I'm not listening anymore. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm glad you exist in my life so I don't have to pay attention when people like you are talking about stuff like this.
I'm glad I exist too, because
And I'm
otherwise I'd
glad
be
you get
dead.
me into first class. Thank
Mhm.
you.
I love you.
All right, She Slayers. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.